The best way to learn English. Alex dreamed of global connections, but English, a colossal barrier, loomed. His vocabulary was sparse, pronunciation faltered, and confidence was non-existent. He felt trapped, unable to articulate thoughts beyond basic greetings. The world seemed to speak a language he didn't possess, leaving him isolated and longing for the freedom of expression. He desperately sought a solution. Researching the best way to learn English online, he found countless articles. Each offered a different magic bullet, from expensive courses to obscure apps. He felt overwhelmed, unsure where to begin. The sheer volume of information was paralyzing, creating more confusion than clarity. Alex needed a structured approach, something practical, not just theoretical advice. One evening, a simple idea clicked: listen and practice. It wasn't revolutionary, but it resonated with a fundamental truth. He decided to start small, immersing himself in English audio daily. Podcasts, simple news reports, and even children's stories became his constant companions, slowly familiarizing his ears with new rhythms and sounds. He made listening an active exercise, not just background noise. After each audio segment, he would pause and try to mimic the pronunciation, repeating phrases aloud. This way of learning English felt intuitive. He focused on intonation and stress, understanding that simply hearing wasn't enough. Active participation was absolutely vital for progress. The initial attempts felt awkward, his tongue tripping over unfamiliar sounds. But he persisted, understanding that consistency trumped perfection. He recorded himself, cringing at first, then slowly noticing subtle improvements. This iterative process of listening, repeating, and self-assessment became his daily ritual, building a foundational comfort with spoken English. Then came the daunting thought: how to speak with people. The idea of actual conversation filled him with dread. What if he made mistakes? What if he couldn't understand? The fear of judgment was a heavy cloak, suffocating any brave impulses to interact. He knew communication was the goal, but the first step felt impossible. He realized he needed to take first step for talking, but it didn't have to be with a stranger. His reflection became his first audience. Standing before the mirror, he began to practice simple introductions, greetings, and basic questions. It felt silly, yet it provided a safe space to articulate words without the pressure of an external listener's judgment. He implemented a strict, but manageable rule: talk in English just 1 page per day. He chose a page from a simple storybook or an personal article and committed to reading it aloud, then summarizing it to himself. This routine ensured daily engagement, building both vocabulary and the muscle memory for speaking consistently every single day. This practice wasn't just about reading, it was about internalizing. After reading a page, he would close his eyes and try to recall key phrases, repeating them silently, then aloud. This method, a crucial part of How to Learn English, bridged the gap between passive consumption and active production, making the words his own. The words he encountered on his 1 page per day became his focus for How to Learn Words. Instead of rote memorization lists, he learned words in context, understanding their nuances and common collocations. He created mental images for new vocabulary, connecting them to existing knowledge, making retrieval much easier and more natural. Every morning, before his day truly began, he dedicated 30 minutes to this routine. It wasn't about speed, but about deliberate, focused repetition. He discovered that understanding the emotional weight of words, not just their definitions, was key. This deep engagement helped ingrain them into his long-term memory, preparing him for real-world application. His living room transformed into his personal language lab. He embraced how to talk at home to yourself. Narrating his daily activities, describing objects around him, and even debating imaginary scenarios became commonplace. This constant self-dialogue created a fluid mental connection between thought and spoken English. It was private, safe practice. He would comment on the weather, describe his breakfast, or plan his errands aloud, all in English. This seemingly eccentric habit dramatically reduced his internal filter. The fear of sounding awkward diminished as he continuously heard his own voice producing English sentences, building confidence in his ability to articulate complex thoughts. The goal wasn't perfection, but fluency. He allowed himself to make mistakes, viewing them as stepping stones, not roadblocks. Learning English is a journey, he often reminded himself, not a destination. This positive mindset was crucial, preventing frustration from derailing his consistent efforts and encouraging continued brave exploration. He used flashcards for stubborn words, but always integrated them back into sentences. He understood that isolating words was less effective than seeing them in action. He also started keeping a small notebook, jotting down new phrases and expressions he heard, actively building his conversational repertoire for future use. Audiobooks became his extended classroom. He would listen to a chapter, then pause and try to summarize it in his own words, talking to the empty room. This rigorous, practice English method strengthened his comprehension and forced him to actively construct sentences on the fly, mimicking natural conversational flow and rhythm. He sought out native English speakers online, watching interviews and vlogs. He paid close attention to their natural speech patterns, intonation, and idiomatic expressions. He even mimicked their gestures and facial expressions, understanding that communication extends beyond mere words, embracing the full spectrum of human interaction. The concept of how to practice English evolved. It wasn't confined to a textbook or a classroom. It became interwoven with his daily life. From ordering coffee to reading street signs, every interaction became an opportunity to engage with the language, transforming mundane tasks into valuable learning experiences for him. His vocabulary expanded rapidly. Words he'd only seen in print suddenly sprang to life in his self-talk. He started understanding more complex sentences in movies and songs, a thrilling revelation. The world of English was slowly but surely opening up to him, revealing layers of meaning he hadn't perceived before. He also found simple English news articles, reading them aloud, focusing on fluency rather than speed. He then tried to explain the main points to an imaginary friend. This reinforced comprehension and allowed him to practice rephrasing information, a vital skill for actual conversation and effective communication in real-time scenarios. The fear of how to speak with people still lingered, but it was now a whisper, not a roar. He felt a growing urge to test his skills in the real world. He knew the internal practice was good, but true progress required external validation and the unpredictable nature of genuine human interaction. His first real step was tentative. He joined an online language exchange group, committing to short, low-pressure conversations. The initial anxiety was immense, heart pounding like a drum solo. He rehearsed opening lines, but often forgot them the moment someone said hello. It was a nerve-wracking, yet exhilarating experience. He started with simple greetings and questions, focusing on active listening. He didn't worry about sounding perfect, only about conveying his message. Each small interaction, even just ordering food, felt like a victory, chipping away at his long-held apprehension and building a foundation of practical experience. He learned that effective communication wasn't just about uttering words, it was about understanding. He paid close attention to context, body language, and tone. He asked clarifying questions, even if it felt clumsy, preferring clarity over silent misunderstanding. This holistic approach significantly improved his conversational efficacy. The 1 page per day strategy continued, providing a steady stream of new vocabulary and grammatical structures. He found that words learned in his quiet study time were suddenly recognizable in real conversations, a testament to the power of consistent daily engagement and diligent study. He challenged himself to use at least 5 new words from his daily page in his self-talk or online conversations. This active application reinforced learning and pushed him to integrate new knowledge into his active vocabulary, moving beyond passive recognition to confident, spontaneous usage. His confidence grew with each successful interaction. He found that most people were patient and encouraging, often offering corrections gently. This positive feedback loop fueled his motivation, transforming fear into excitement for new conversational opportunities. He began to truly enjoy the process. He also discovered that his internal, how to talk at home to yourself, practice made a huge difference. When he stumbled in a real conversation, his brain quickly searched for alternatives, drawing from the vast reservoir of phrases he had already rehearsed countless times in his private space. He sought out opportunities to speak, even if it meant stepping out of his comfort zone. He volunteered to help international visitors, joined online forums, and even started watching English movies without subtitles, pushing his comprehension boundaries further with each daring attempt. Learning how to learn words became less about memorization and more about absorption. He noticed patterns, root words, and prefixes, which helped him deduce the meaning of unfamiliar words. His brain was now actively processing English, not just passively receiving it, a true sign of progress. There were still moments of frustration, days when words wouldn't come or when he misunderstood something important. But instead of giving up, he treated these as learning opportunities. He asked for clarification, politely admitted his limitations, and moved forward, embracing the imperfections of the learning journey. His consistent listen and practice regimen bore fruit. His ear was now attuned to various accents and speech speeds. He could follow complex discussions, grasp humor, and understand cultural nuances that had once been completely lost on him. The world of English was truly opening up. The way of learning English he had adopted was proving incredibly effective because it was holistic. It combined passive intake with active output, systematic study with spontaneous application. It wasn't just about acquiring knowledge, but about developing a functional, real-world skill for genuine connection. He began to feel truly comfortable with talk in English just 1 page per day. It wasn't a chore, it was a meditation, a daily affirmation of his commitment. The page became a mirror, reflecting his growing fluency and deepening understanding of the language's intricate beauty. How to speak with people transitioned from a fearful challenge to a joyful pursuit. He sought out more conversations, actively participating in group discussions, and even offering his opinions confidently. The anxiety had largely dissipated, replaced by a genuine enthusiasm for connection. He discovered the joy of storytelling in English, sharing personal anecdotes and experiences. His self-talk practice provided the scaffolding, allowing him to structure his thoughts before vocalizing them, making his narratives clearer and more engaging for his listeners. He wasn't just speaking, he was communicating, forging genuine connections. Strangers became acquaintances, then friends, all through the shared medium of English. The initial barrier had crumbled, revealing a vast landscape of human connection waiting to be explored by him. The discipline of how to learn English was transforming him. It wasn't just about language, it was about resilience, patience, and self-belief. He learned that consistent effort, even in small increments, leads to remarkable achievements over time, proving his dedication. His method for how to practice English broadened. He started reading English novels, watching documentaries, and even writing short journal entries. Every activity became an opportunity to immerse himself deeper, transforming passive learning into active engagement across various mediums. He found that true fluency wasn't about knowing every word, but about confidently navigating conversations, even with limited vocabulary. The ability to rephrase, to ask for clarification, and to use context clues became invaluable tools in his ever-growing communication toolkit. How to talk at home to yourself remained a crucial cornerstone. It allowed him to experiment with new phrases, to try out different sentence structures, and to iron out kinks in his pronunciation without public scrutiny, serving as his personal rehearsal space. He no longer just learned words, he internalized them, feeling their rhythm and flow. His memory retention improved dramatically, a direct result of consistent context-based learning rather than isolated memorization. Words felt like old friends, ready to be called upon. The journey of how to take first step for talking had come full circle. From hesitant mirror conversations, he now confidently initiated discussions with native speakers, asking thoughtful questions and sharing insightful observations without hesitation or fear. He realized the best way to learn English was not a single method but a personalized blend of many, tailored to his needs and learning style. It was about relentless, enjoyable practice, coupled with a willingness to make mistakes and learn from every single interaction. His journey was a testament to the power of daily habits. Just one page per day, compounded over months, then years, resulted in an astonishing transformation. Small, consistent efforts truly yielded monumental results, proving the value of persistence in any learning endeavor. He found immense satisfaction in being able to understand jokes, engage in witty banter, and appreciate the subtleties of English humor. It was more than just language, it was access to a new culture, a broader perspective, and deeper human connection. His mind, once clouded with doubt, now processed English with ease. Thoughts flowed from his brain directly into spoken words, bridging the gap between intention and expression effortlessly. The language had truly become an extension of his own self. Friends and colleagues noticed his transformation, often asking for his secret. He would simply smile and say, "Listen and practice. Talk to yourself. 1 page a day. Just keep talking." His methods were simple, yet profoundly effective for anyone. He became an advocate for active, joyful learning. He encouraged others not to fear mistakes, but to embrace them as vital feedback. He emphasized that genuine communication, even imperfect, always trumps silent perfection, promoting courageous attempts. The English language, once a towering wall, had become a vibrant bridge, connecting him to people and ideas across the globe. His world expanded exponentially, enriched by every new conversation, every book, and every song he now fully comprehended. He felt a profound sense of accomplishment. It wasn't just about passing an exam or reaching a certain level. It was about achieving a personal goal that had once seemed utterly impossible to him, proving his inner strength. Every word he learned, every phrase he mastered, represented a step closer to his dream. His journey wasn't over, but the initial daunting struggle had evolved into an exciting, continuous exploration of a beautiful, complex language. He could now navigate international conferences, engage in deep philosophical discussions, and even understand nuances in foreign films, all thanks to his unwavering commitment to consistent daily practice and brave communication attempts. His story is a powerful reminder that learning a language is not a sprint, but a marathon of consistent effort. With the right strategies and a resilient mindset, anyone can achieve fluency, breaking down their own barriers. So, if you're feeling lost, remember Alex's journey. Start small, be consistent, talk to yourself, listen intently, and never stop practicing. Your voice is waiting to be heard, ready to connect with the world in English.